This time I put my records in a so-called table structure. Not only does it give you a nice band for each alternative row, but it also puts filters in your headers automatically. But the most important reason is that you are using formulas later on here, and they will not automatically update when you add new records at the bottom of the list. So when I click at the last entry here and I do the tab, it automatically allows me to add more records. I do Control semicolon. It automatically updates to the month of that date through a formula. Then I can add my client. How much do you want in amount? What is the tax rate? Let's say 16. And it calculates everything automatically. That's the advantage of using a table. In the background you can still use your regular formulas, though they look a little different maybe, but that's what happened here. So now we want to know what is the tax overview per quarter. So I made a little report here, and please notice that in here is not a queue, only 1, 2, 3, 4. So I updated that with a formatting issue. Format the cells. I used a custom filter and I put in there double quotes, Q, double quotes, and then a 0 for the number. I did something similar here. There is only 21% in there. The rest is coming from formatting. So now the question is, what is the formula in here? It is actually this one. It uses SUMIFS, and SUMIFS has a lot of arguments. Let's try it from scratch. You can either do it from FX or typing it. And I'm going to use SUMIFS. And with a table you do basically the same as you do with a regular formula. The sum range is everything in the tax column. Select the first tax value, Control Shift arrow down. You went one too far, Shift 1 up. And it puts in there table 1 tax. Thanks to that notation it will automatically update when you add records. What is your criteria range? That is the tax percentage section, Control Shift arrow down. And the criteria is, I'm going to type that literally, I3, but make sure that I3 is locked properly. That means the I should be locked. So when I copy it to the right, it will still look in column I. You do that with F4 key until the I is locked with a string sign. And you do the rest, etc., etc., etc. So you end up with this formula. I'm putting that back in there. Once that formula is correct, you can copy it down, but don't copy it to the right. So you have to adjust them differently there. So if you copy them to the right, it will not be correct anymore. So it's a little more work when you work with tables. So you may decide not to use tables. If you ever decide that you don't really want to use them, then you just click inside the table, go to the Design tab, and says Convert to a range. And if you do that, and you acknowledge that, you will see that you still get all your bands unless you change the format, but now the formula in here has changed dramatically. It does not use anymore that table notation. So I'm going to do this once again for two reasons. First of all, on your Excel version, SUMIFS may not exist. You may have SUMIF but not SUMIFS. Older versions of Excel don't have it. If you don't have it, Are you lost? No, you can always use an array formula. So here in this case I have a regular table. For even the table structure is not possible in old Excel versions, but I have to put a more complicated formula in there. It's what they call an array function. And this is what the formula is going to look like. You are going to sum under an if condition. B2 through B14 locked less than equal to J2 with a locked 2 times 3. And the asterisk in an array function makes an AND condition. And at the same time, B2 through B14 should be greater than that number. Another AND condition. E2 through E14 should be equal to I3. And if that's all the case, then sum F2 through F14. Again, you have to accept this in a certain way. If I go into my formula bar and I say I have everything in there and I do a regular enter, I get an error, but it doesn't tell me it's an error. It just doesn't know what to do. So you go, if you did make that mistake, you go back to the error bar and you use Ctrl-Shift-Enter if you are in Windows. In Mac, but I'm not a Mac expert, you have to use one of these three options depending on whether you have a laptop or not. So I am back in the formula bar, I do Ctrl-Shift-Enter, and that one you can copy down and you can copy to the right. So in the background we have enormous features there, and that's what it looks like. So in the next one I'm going to make another overview. It's based on very simple records, certain company numbers with cost centers in those companies, and invoices. And we are going to calculate with SUMIFS the totals. If you don't have SUMIFS, you have to use a trick like I showed you here with array functions. So how do you get this unique set of records? You filter A1 for B21 for unique records. I'm going to delete this in here just to show you how I got that list here. So you highlight A1, Control Shift arrow down, and you go one column to the right, Shift to the right. Data, an advanced filter for the range A1 through B21, but unique records only. And we are going to copy that to another location. Make sure you have the headers or labels included, for filters work always through labels. Copy to another location, and I'm going to put it in E1 through F11, or you can just say E1, and copy it. And you get a unique list of company numbers, and in that company you have 3 different cost centers. And in company 102 you have those cost centers. So I have that list here now, and I'm going to do a very simple SUMIF. I put in J2 this formula, SUMIFS. The sum range C2 through C21. The first criteria range is A2 through A21, criteria H2. The second range is B2 through B21, criteria I2. Notice that there is a arrow down, so you can do more than 2 criteria, 3, 4, 5 criteria. If you do that with an array function, then you have to do multiple times asterisks times, which doesn't mean times, but and. And you get a beautiful overview of the totals per company, per cost center, or whatever your records indicate. These are just a few simple tricks in Excel. If you want to become more proficient in Excel, I would highly recommend this CD-ROM. It is based on Excel 2007, but it's basically also useful for later versions, though the interface changed a little bit. This is what is discussed in there. Every module has 550 slides, so you have 1500 slides that are interactive. You can find them at genesispc.com. The price may be a little high, but you can use this for your co-workers, for your employees, for your boss, for your friends, whatever.